Good afternoon. Big welcome to Tuesday, May the 16th. Today's the day back in 1929. The very first Academy Award ceremony was held in Hollywood. They weren't known as the Oscars back then. That came later, and the whole thing was actually a bit of an anticlimax, as the winners all knew the results in advance. Well, we've got our usual Oscar-winning selection of clips this afternoon. Here's a taste of what's to come, just for you at home. Clips there. Now come and meet today's contestants. And first of all, we welcome Richard McLean, an actor, and his mother Carol, a model. Both are from East Kilbride. And we kick off as usual with Stop the Clip. Fingers on buzzers. Buzz when you think you can answer the question about the clip, but buzz and get it wrong, and we run more of the clip. The sooner you buzz, of course, the more points you get. And we start with a report from a year ago today. What is this story? Start the clip.
Renowned as one of the most beautiful cities in the world, it's said to be sinking in a mire of economic breakdown, crime...
Richard and Carol?
I think it was Venice, when Venice
No,
was sinking.
restart the clip.
Maybe, yeah. It's Beatles for me, Prince Charles, so...
Nick and Arthur?
Is it Frankfurt?
No, restart the clip.
The prince chose first to visit the fortress where almost all the sires, from Peter the Great on, are buried.
Richard and Carol?
St. Petersburg.
Is right, you got there in the end. Prince Charles visiting St. Petersburg today in 1994. And at the end of that round, we have Richard and Carol, who made a lively start on a humble 1 point. You're going to have to do better than that. And Nick and Arthur setting a formidable lead with 25. Now to our round about famous people. On the video wall we have 4 years, and hiding behind them 4 famous faces, all people for whom the 16th of May meant something special in those years. Richard and Carol, we come to you first.
1974, please.
Today in 1974, Tim Rice had a curse placed on him for writing the lyrics to which popular musical?
Was it Jesus Christ Superstar?
It was indeed, and incidentally, Rice and Lloyd Webber quipped that they hoped their managers would take the usual 25% for that correct. Richard and Carol, your choice of year.
1980, please.
Today, 1980, Linda McCartney was being mobbed by photographers at Cannes, where she had a cartoon entered in the festival. What was the name of the pop group that she and her husband formed in 1971?
Wings.
Is right, and that leaves 1990 for Nick and Arthur. At the end of round 2, the score stand at 11 points for Richard and Carol, starting to move up there, but Nick and Arthur maintaining a healthy lead with 35. And so to our TV round, a selection of classic programs which were on the air on this very day in years gone by. 3 clips for Richard and Carol first. Our usual, we hope not too difficult questions to follow.
It's such a ghastly name for what must be such an odious smell. I think it's your smell, Frank.
Oh dear. Would have been
Come on, come on.
Going back to Derby, are they, sir?
Yes. Ah, well. If you want me, I'll be at the exchange. Get some business.
Aye, sir.
She's a dear little but frail old lady. Of course you're going to leave her. Dump her on a park bench and run for it. She never comes.
Typical. No wonder she can't stand you.
I don't see how anyone could live with your mother. Your father couldn't stick it 5 minutes, could he?
He didn't walk out on her. He were killed in the war.
Well, there you are. You see, they'll go to any lengths to avoid it.
Richard and Carol. First one?
Call My Bluff.
Correct from 1983. Second?
The Needham Line.
Right from 1976. And the third?
Is it Clarence?
No, it was Open All Hours from 1982. 3 bonus questions coming up. Frank Muir wrote a classic radio comedy series with Dennis Norden featuring characters called the Glums. Can you name it?
No.
No?
Sorry.
Take it from here. Da, 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 da. No, you remember it now? Yeah. Yes, right. Well, that's enough singing. You saw the central character, James O'Neidin, in the O'Neidin line. Who played him? No?
I can't remember.
It was Peter Gilmore, and you saw Linda Barron in Open All Hours. What was the full name of her character in the series?
I didn't know.
Don't know that either.
It was Nurse Gladys. Correct. So at the end of round 3, we have Richard and Carol on 21 points, but Nick and Arthur increasing their lead with 55. Now, fingers back on buzzers for the round which is going to decide who goes on to this afternoon's final and who goes home. 5 points for every question. It's time for our quick-fire playoff. Born today in 1905, who starred in the films 12 Angry Men and Young Mr. Lincoln? Nick and Arthur?
Henry Fonda.
Is right. Henry Fonda won an Oscar for his role in his last film. Nick and Arthur?
On Golden Pond.
No, I'll finish the question for Richard and Carol. His last film called On Golden Pond. Who played his wife?
Katharine Hepburn.
It was Katharine Hepburn. Now take a look at this.
The aspirations of the free world can certainly be summed up in one simple phrase: a secure peace. That is what we are after. We are going to win that objective exactly as we won the wartime's objective, through individual and collective sacrifice. Ladies and gentlemen, goodbye to you. Good luck to all.
Dwight D. Eisenhower, speaking today in 1952, following his resignation from which major organization? Nick and Arthur?
NATO.
Is correct. 6 months later, Eisenhower was elected president. Who was his deputy during his term in office? Nick and Arthur?
Truman.
No. Offer it to Richard and Carol?
No.
No, it was Richard Nixon. Name the creator of the Muppets who died today in 19... Nick and Arthur?
Jim Henson.
Is right. Who starred as Scrooge in the film The Muppet Christmas Carol? Nick and Arthur?
Michael Caine.
Correct. Now take a look at this.
The Lava is providing a very good reason for an Italian fiesta, with sightseers coming here in their hundreds of thousands. Here there are ice cream counters with presumably super-efficient refrigerators, more stalls selling drinks and nuts, and even youngsters offering to take your photograph standing next to the lava for £1.
Sightseers on Mount Etna today in 1971. On which island is Mount Etna? Nick and Arthur?
Sicily.
Correct. What is the capital of Sicily? Nick and Arthur?
Palermo.
Is right. Born today in 1953. Who is the new James Bond? Nick and Arthur?
Pierce Brosnan.
Correct. Who played James Bond in the... You've buzzed. I'm going to let you answer. But you buzzed.
Sean Connery.
No, I'll finish the question for Richard and Carol. Who played James Bond in the film On Her Majesty's Secret Service?
Was it Roger Moore?
No, it was George Lazenby, and that's the end of our quick-fire playoff. And we find Richard and Carol ending this part of our contest on 26. Nick and Arthur a quite splendid 90. So that means that Nick and Arthur have made it through to this afternoon's final in just a few minutes, but we have to say goodbye to Richard and Carol, and you go away with reminders of taking part in the programme, newspapers that were printed and published on the very days that you were born. And Richard, on your birthday, both the British Aircraft Corporation and Sud Aviation of France were strongly denying rumours that Concorde had to be completely redesigned. They promised the inaugural flight of the prototype would take place in a few weeks' time.
Thank you very much.
And Carol, today on your birthday, the Times carried a report of a very special sale at Sotheby's. For auction were a number of manuscripts and letters telling the story of Elizabeth Barrett's romantic flight from Wimpole Street and her secret marriage to Robert Browning, including the earliest known letter announcing the elopement. That's a nice